It's hunting us. It knows what we're afraid of.
Fiddlesticks goes by many names. In the Freljord, it is known as the Voice Eater. To the Ruined King, they are Demon, and to the oldest times of Runeterra's history, they are known simply as the First of 10. The eldest of 10 kings, primordial demons of unfathomable power. Once lost to the passage of time, Fiddlesticks has returned. Runeterra has notable demonic entities such as Nocturne, Evelyn, and Tahm kench within its lore, so today we will try and uncover the secrets of the Voice Eater in order to answer the question, what makes the 10 kings different from any other demon? 10 great kings took 10 great thrones. 9 crowns adorned 9 heads. 1 left to scratch upon their mounds, the crow, alive and dead. A circle of 10 thrones, 9 crowns, and 1 elder. Fiddlesticks wore no crown, but they were the oldest and most powerful of the 10 kings. No one knows why the rule of the 10 kings fell, how they fell, or even where they are now. All we know is why Fiddlesticks is here. Fiddlesticks is a malicious and malevolent demon feasting on the fear of the living. They embody this appetite by having no voice of their own, instead using the voices of the harvested and frightened to create a cacophony of macabre vocals. The terror of all living things, given life in that first terrible scream of creation, a demon before demons were known. That first terrible scream of creation is a reference to the breath of creation that created the universe of Runeterra and the Celestials. Fiddlesticks is at least 10,998 years old. They have been there since the beginning, and will be there until the end. They are a defined and powerful force of the universe of Runeterra, and are not restricted by the mortality of their puppeted frame. Riot have confirmed that we only know 1 of the 10 kings, and when taking that into account, the line, 1 left to scratch upon their mounds, it makes sense that Fiddlesticks is the last of the 10 kings who is now roaming Runeterra as a physical manifestation. This is a fragment of esoteric lore, discovered after the attack on the Noxian fortress at Phalor. The author and provenance are unknown. It's the equivalent of a family tree, but for demons. A demonology tree. 7 different emotions have been identified on this tree: fear, delirium, nightmares, secrets, bliss, frenzy, and obsession. And at the very top is fear. This is obviously Fiddlesticks, but there are other strange parts to this tree. Long, long ago, in a tower by the edge of the sea, a foolish young mage summoned something into the world that he was not prepared to control. See, Fiddlesticks is well known to wear a key, and in his old lore, the key around Fiddlesticks' neck was owned by a Zornite summoner named Istvan. Istvan performed some perverse ritual that caused him to manifest Fiddlesticks into Runeterra. The key unlocked the door to Istvan's summoning tower. Fiddlesticks' original story of being summoned by a mage is still there. It's got something extra now, or had something before it was stolen. Looking at the demonology tree, we can see that in the top left is denoted a very particular key. The purpose and origin of the key are unknown. An old Targonian legend speaks of how a child of Twilight stole the only joy from a ragged, whispering horror, and the key in the demonology tree is likely to be the same key as the Targonian legend. Fiddlesticks is only able to form quite restricted dialogue and sentences, but in his surprise party skin, Riot have given him a more personal touch, and this includes a line of dialogue between Zoe and surprise party Fiddles.
Nice key you got there, Twilight. Didn't steal it from someone dangerous, did you?
What does this key do? Something beautiful and terrible in its joy. Vague as it may be, this is the only information that Riot have given us on this so far. The key itself could be a large component of another character's lore, or it could just be a nod to Zoe's ability to traverse through portals. Zoe may have stolen the key from Fiddlesticks just because it would have been funny, and that would be on par with her character. Except we do have one kind of answer. We'll come back to this when we put everything together, but bear in mind that when surprise party Fiddlesticks kills Zoe and would have a chance to get the key back, he says,
Well, I think it's time to bring joy back into the world.
With the key being described as the only joy from a ragged whispering horror, and Fiddlesticks saying it's time to let joy back into the world, this could be hinting at one of the 10 Kings' names. At the bottom of the demonology tree sits a somewhat hard to make out word, Azakana. At the time, this wasn't something that the community had access to because we were on patch 10.7, but in patch 10.16, 9 patches later, Riot would actually add a new voice line towards Fiddlesticks in the form of Yone. The Azakana are demonic creatures within Ionian folklore that feed on human beings. First, working up an appetite by feeding on the negative emotions of their prey, before taking form and devouring them whole. Azakana are lesser demons and not true demons such as Evelyn or Tahm Kench. In order to become this, an Azakana must grow more powerful before manifesting its true demonic form. The mask on Yone's face is not a mask, it is an Azakana, and Yone reduces the Azakana he hunts into masks. The Azakana infused itself with Yone during a battle stretching over many years with this lesser demon. As a result, Yone is infused with dark magic, and this is what gives him his strength. However, you'll notice, despite hunting Azakana himself, and being well versed in their nature, that Yone is, well, less than comfortable with witnessing the existence of Fiddlesticks.
What ancient horror is this? Is this what an Azakana could become?
We know that Fiddlesticks is over 10,000 years old, so he's had more than enough time to grow in power and manifest himself as a true demon. And we know that Fiddlesticks feeds on fear, so whenever, or whoever, or whatever, Fiddlesticks was feasting on, it would have been as an Azakana, and it would have been since the breath of creation. But why would there be fear? As described in the ancient fear as the first terrible scream of creation, the breath of creation was what created the Celestials, the equivalent of gods. But did it create someone else? It's time we talked about the unspoken guest to Fiddlesticks' timeline, the Grey Man.
Grey Man.
Kindred is the primordial force of death within Runeterra. They are almost, if not as old as Fiddlesticks, so why is he calling them Grey Man? Before Lamb and Wolf, there was a pre-split kindred. The incarnate of death itself was described as a pale man with dark hair. Fiddlesticks is referencing this pre-split state of kindred before he took an axe and split himself in two. Fiddlesticks could be doing this for two reasons. The first being recognition, such as when Fiddlesticks kills Evelyn, he acknowledges her as Agony, a demon of the emotion,
Agony!
Fiddlesticks could be recognizing Kindred as another primordial being by calling out their previous appearance. The second reason could be that this is in fact a trauma, and that Fiddlesticks both met the Grey Man and now wants to exploit that. Kindred split himself in two as a result of loneliness and isolation. It's hard to have a social life when you are death itself. If there's any moment of trauma to try vocalize, then calling Kindred Grey Man is one of the few weaknesses pre-split Kindred had. I'll be doing a video in the future on Kindred because they are genuinely one of my favorite champions in terms of Runeterran lore, but understand that Kindred and Fiddlesticks have known of each other since the birth of creation. Demons of Runeterra are well known to generally appreciate the emotional cascade of terror, pain, and violence created by war. Whether it's because it was the thing that created them, such as in Evelyn's case, she only appeared during the Rune War, transforming from an entity being nourished by the suffering and death into Evelyn, the Demon of Agony. Runeterra has also seen a lot of wars. There's the Titan War, War of the Three Sisters, the Void War, the Great Darken War, the Rune Wars, and in more recent Runeterra there was the Noxus-Demacian War, followed by the Noxus invasion of Ionia. Fiddlesticks was a fable, myth, and nothing more to the people of Runeterra. Despite having stories and rumors across the continents, it was never taken seriously because Fiddlesticks had never actually been seen. The people of Demacia were unaware that the rising fear and paranoia would result in the resurgence of a primordial demon, but that is what happened. Fiddlesticks is not something that lies in waiting as a physical manifestation. They aren't some vampiric creature that has a convenient weakness, like sleeping in a coffin or being weak to pointy sticks. Fiddlesticks is a demon of fear itself, and while we don't know the Titans or the Vasta Yashire from the Titan War, we know that death was feared by all, to the point that death got lonely and became Kindred. In a sense, Kindred is part of the reason that Fiddlesticks is so powerful. At their most primal level, all things fear the end. Nothing wants to die. Because of this, there will always be fear so long as there is death. Such as the cycle continues, and Kindred, simply by existing, is quintessential to Fiddlesticks being able to feed on the fear of the end. Viego, related to Vladimir as a descendant of the royalty of Camavor, has a unique interaction with Fiddlesticks in which he uses a specific wording to reference the Scarecrow's demonic connections.
Ur-demon, when all life ends, you will return to your slumber.
Ur-demon is a reference to a series of books known as Nightworld. In Soulmate, the sixth novel of this series, Ur-demons are believed by the ancient Egyptians to be evil, supernatural creatures that drank blood and stole the sa, soul or essence of a person. Like a vampire, except it's not about feasting on the red stuff as much. Fiddlesticks eats the essence of a soul by attacking people in the physical world. Having Viego call him Ur-demon is a nice nod to the Nightworld series and also helps to add weight to the character, but I don't think it's related to anything larger or is supposed to reveal any new insights. For the individual who caused ruination and incited the Black Mist itself to speak to Fiddlesticks about the end of life and how when it's all over, Fiddle will have to go back to an eternal rest, helps solidify the longevity of demons in the League universe, which is important when talking about a character that holds an age of over 10,000 years. There's a lot to unpack here, But the Spirit Blossom event and skin lines all feature information that is not only relevant, but help answer some more important questions regarding demons in the universe of Runeterra. Spirit Blossom Vane explains that her village was destroyed by the primordial demon of pain. This confirms that pain is one of the 10 kings and helps solidify their existence across Runeterra. Spirit Blossom Yone also gives us a quintessential piece of information in understanding Azakana. Azakana means little demon, but they're not to be trifled with. The creatures are spiritual vampires feeding on dark, complex thoughts. With enough time, they kill their hosts, emerging as the wicked embodiment of a human emotional concept. They call this form an arcana, or demon, although a handful of them are different and existed long before the rest. 10, to be exact. I'll save that story for another time. Yone explained that an Azakana will grow into an arcana over time, but the 10 kings are different. This means that it's not actually possible to pinpoint whether Fiddlesticks started as an Azakana and grew into the primordial demon king, or if Fiddlesticks was something different from the very start. Yasuo also explains the power dynamic of demonology, and this is pretty important. The more pure is the negative emotion that a demon uses, the more powerful he will become. This is the core concept of power within demons. Ironically, demons value a sense of purity. On a conceptual level, this actually makes a lot of sense. The power of a demon is relevant to how much they are able to consume, and the closer to the base concept of an emotion a demon can get, the wider their diet will be. Nocturne may feast on nightmares while Rom feasts on secrets, but Fiddlesticks is feasting on both. Every thread leads back to the original concept of fear, and as long as someone's scared of something, Fiddlesticks will benefit. Lastly, we have another quote from Yasuo. Demons, yes and no. Demons feast on negative emotions. The most powerful feed on the basest. Most can be destroyed, though it isn't exactly easy. Some, not so much. I'm sure you're familiar with the poem 10 Great Kings? No? Well, it was more popular in my time. Again, a reference to the 10 kings, but this also suggests that the 10 kings are not something that can be destroyed. If something cannot be killed, there are other ways of dealing with it. The idea that the 10 kings were sealed away or banished from the realm of existence in some fashion could be how they were dealt with. Now we have the task of trying to put this all together. Let's go through all the demons we have in Runeterra so far. Evelyn feeds on agony, Nocturne feeds on nightmares, Swain, possessed by Rom, feeds on secrets, and tahm Kench feeds on addiction. All of these have been confirmed as lesser demons, but only Nocturne and Swain exist on the demonology tree, which means there are other pages, and these other pages have now been confirmed to exist by Riot. Riot have also confirmed that Fiddlesticks is the only one of the 10 kings that we have seen so far, but in a tweet it was said they have directly named 2 of the other kings already. So who are they? First off, we confirmed that Pain is a primordial demon, as it was confirmed through Spirit Blossom Vane's description. Then, we were able to isolate the word Joy was more likely to be the name of the king itself. Joy may not sound like a negative emotion, but inherently the more joyous a person is, the greater potential for negative emotions they possess. Evelyn provides her services in order to make the agony of her victims all the more horrifying and intense when she turns on them. Joy itself is defined as a feeling of great pleasure or happiness, and naturally would be associated with positive connotations. When combined with fear, however, the aspect of joy could manifest itself as delirium, an acutely disturbed state of mind characterized by restlessness, illusions, and incoherence, occurring in intoxication, fever, and other disorders. The fact that the demonology tree branches directly from the key may itself be a hint that to the left of the page of fear is the page of joy, but this is just a theory. So we know that fear, pain, and joy are 3 of the 10 kings. With everything we now know, let's try to answer the following question. What makes the 10 kings different from any other demon? Demons start as an Azakana and become Akana. The 10 kings are said to be different. The 10 kings cannot be killed, and so were sealed or banished in some fashion. A king feasts on a base emotion and draws power from all other demons of its branch. The 10 kings are ancient and predate all other demons in their branch. In all its vagueness and occult thematics, I'm a huge fan of Fiddlesticks and the 10 Kings, a truly mysterious and ancient power, a primordial demon king holding mysterious keys and puppeting a scarecrow as their medium for horror. Credit where due, Kellen Goff, the voice actor for Fiddlesticks and Surprise Party Fiddlesticks, has done an outstanding job of representing the character. He's gone so far as to upload a video detailing his process of voicing the champion in-game. Finding all this wasn't easy, and it can be difficult to try and piece together a timeline for a creature that's existed for over 10,000 years, but this has been one of the deepest dives I've been able to look into a character's lore, and I'm kind of impressed with how well hidden a lot of this is. While I wish there was more to find, we can only hope that more information is given around the 10 Kings in the future, or a development happens within Runeterra. But for now, this is the lore of Fiddlesticks. So there we have it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button and consider subscribing if you're interested in the content. I stream occasionally on Twitch, and you can find my links down below. Take care. What what? Why was this a thing? And wait, what is that? What is...